No question about it. I mean, he still knows how to rock, and dude, I mean, opened for the Stones, played with Fleetwood Mac, and then the list of songs that he wrote that were smash hits. I mean,
well, he started listing some I'd completely forgotten about.
Yeah,
Baby Hold On, and want to go back, and
that's my favorite one.
Yeah, I know you said that earlier in the show that you were really fond of that song. And I'm just a huge fan of his stuff. And yes, can it be a little corporate? But he rocked, man. I dare anybody to call him a pop star. Go back to some of his early stuff in the 80s and in the late 70s. I love the No Control album. It is a complete masterpiece. And Nick, he nearly died himself. He almost overdosed. I don't know if you know that. And if you take a listen to his No Control album, it's basically a biography about going through that experience. And he went through rehab in the early 2000s as well. So he's had his fights.
Yeah, resilient guy, and he's still doing it. Sold out, where did he say, down in Tampa Bay at the Hard Rock? I mean, now you tell me, if Eddie Money wasn't coming to town, you weren't going to see him. I mean, I'd be there tonight.
I would. Cool story. I'm in Denver, Colorado, and I went to go cover a story that I've actually listed on Beats and Eats, a story I did on Eye of the Tiger. I think you've seen the video on there.
Of course.
And Eddie was playing on that show along with Loverboy, and I got done doing my show, right? So I'm out in the parking lot, and I'm walking by all the tour buses. And all of a sudden, out of a dark tour bus, seriously, like rising from a coffin, he's by himself. Okay, these tour bus doors open, and out walks Eddie Money, and my intern is standing right next to me and goes, "That's Eddie effing Money." I'm looking at him going, "Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's Eddie Money." And the next thing I know, he starts talking to me about the Dodgers, and he also said this to me, and I've never forgotten it. Even though Eddie's not a news anchor or sports anchor, he was in town at that time before the concert. He looked at me and says, "Man, you're good at your job."
Well, you are, Ty.
Well,
good eye for talent.
Coming from Eddie Money, my year was made. I not some cheap suit consultant from New York City trying to tell me how to anchor my sportscast. What Eddie Money had to say meant the world to me. So I've kind of had a thing for Eddie for a long time. And then Michelle met him, had some pictures with him. We sat down 5 years ago here in Washington State when he did a concert, and he was really cool. We talked to him for about 15, 20 minutes. He was doing a show with some of his old songs that he did from his group, The Grapes of Wrath, in the 60s when he was like in high school. So I'll stop. I'm kind of rambling, Nick. I love
it's all great stuff. Great stuff.
I love the guy. I like the fact when I can promise a guest and I can deliver it, I get no bigger charge out of that. You know that.
Ty, you're a maniac, man. I mean, you've not delivered once. I've given you 2 challenges. You came through with both of them. You've gotten on people that have you've admired, and it's going to continue. I mean, the list goes on, and dude, you have a lot to be proud of. Now go F yourself.
now, if we can only get Alyssa Milano.
I see you. You're going to get arrested.
Yeah, I'm going to get a restraining order. That's the only problem with that. Set the record for tweets, I think.
Oh, my God.
Hey, buddy, no different than you and Shatner, man. I've been trying to go to work for you to get Shatner and Mr. Takai on the show.
Well, I mean, anybody from the campy Star Trek of the 60s would be incredible. But the Shat is one of my favorite people. People either love him or they hate him. The guy just cracks me up because he takes himself so seriously that he makes fun of himself. And I think he's found a way to toe the line where I think in the 70s and in the 80s he took himself very, very seriously. And now he really does make light of himself. And he's good. Matter of fact, I got Netflix, I've been all documentaries all weekend. One of the documentaries I watched was The Captains, and it was William Shatner interviewing all of the Star Trek captains.
How neat.
It was very neat. And Patrick Stewart, man, I mean, you want to talk about an interesting guy. That's an interesting guy. I mean, you want to talk theater.
I have to. Patrick Stewart, great too. Very funny man as well.
Funny, yeah, very dry wit.
And the reason why I bring that up is because last night I'd seen the movie before, but Ted was on. with Mark Wahlberg.
Great movie. Yeah, I don't like comedies.
Anybody watching a teddy bear do karaoke, nothing gets funnier than that. But but anyway, Patrick Stewart does the narration at the start and at the end of the film.
Yes, he does. Great voice.
Oh, priceless.
Iconic voice. Yeah, he's got a great voice. Funny guy, interesting. That's a challenge for you. I think Shatner might be easier than him.
Yeah, I think you're right. Who's Chekhov? I don't know his name. Maybe I'll go out to him.
I don't know his name.
We wouldn't understand a word he'd say on the air, but at least
I think he's. I've seen him in interviews. He's American. He's not Russian.
Oh, is that right? So was that all?
That was a fake accent, as was Scotty's. Scotty was a fake accent.
Really? I had no idea.
Both were fake, and as a matter of fact, Chekhov's son was in Growing Pains.
No.
Yes, he was. He was the neighbor named Boner. No joke. No joke.
Well, I'll have to look that one up. But we can reach out to them, too. I would love to hear those old Star Trek stories.
Well, and the thing about them is if when you watch them in interviews today, there's still that drama. Like, this one hates Shatner. Shatner tried to sleep with this one. You know, there's always this drama going on, and they kind of always badmouth each other in interviews, so I think it would be classically good.
It's funny you should say that because I dated a girl in the early 90s who was from California who actually encountered the passes of Mr. William Shatner.
Really?
Yes, true story.
You didn't give in?
No. But I thought that was amusing, and I'm thinking, that was 20 years ago. How old was he then? It's like in his 60s? He's Eddie Money's age.
He was in his 60s then, but he was the Shat.
Yeah, he can do anything he wants. You know, one of my favorite Shatner movies, Nick, is Kingdom of the Spiders.
Oh, God, I never saw it.
Oh, but you got to.
Well, now that I have Netflix, I'll look it up. But one of my all-time favorite Twilight Zones is with Shatner. What a great one. Do you remember it?
Is that like the one with like the creature on the wing of the plane?
Yes. As a kid, it scared the hell out of me.
Very funny.
And then, of course, there's Shatner's musical work, which, if you have not heard it, Ty.
I have not.
Oh, my goodness. You need to go on YouTube. The serious stuff. Now he makes fun of himself in the Time or Priceline commercials where you hear him singing. But back in the 70s, he put out William Shatner musical albums, and he kind of just spoke during them. Like he'd say, Lucy in the sky with diamonds. And they'd have the music behind him, and he would kind of speak the entire song of American.
Are you serious?
No, I am 100% serious. It is the funniest shit you will ever see. And now he makes fun of it, but then he was very, very serious.
And I bet those albums on vinyl are actually worth coin.
Now they probably are. Wait, here's one. There are some really good ones. I'm telling you, they're absolutely hilarious. Really funny. I have it on YouTube right now. You would die laughing if you heard.
It's funny. I didn't become a fan of Shatner's until Michelle got me hooked on Boston Legal.
Well, I love Boston Legal.
Oh, he was great in that.
Great in it, and he was himself, and that's why he was good. He played his own. He was himself. I mean, Denny Crane was him. That's William Shatner. I would think.
And I love Spader, too, and I can't wait for his new show to come out. And how about this, Nick? How about we talk even more movies with our next guest?
That sounds...
Who's on the line?
Sounds good to me, man. I'm sure he remembers William Shatner doing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
You'll have to ask him. Mr. Irv Slikin, welcome to Beats and Eats on CLNS Radio. Thanks for calling in on this Labor Day.
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we hear you great.
Great, yes. Who are you? You're talking about Shatner and James Spader?
Yes.
I love that show.
Oh,
and you're talking about Shatner doing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
During the 70s, yeah, when he was like a serious musician. He thought he was.
Yeah.
The Shat.
You know what? I saw that. He did that originally live on some sort of science fiction award show that was syndicated.
It's true. It is true.
And
go ahead.
I was working in a department store, and I was on break, and I wandered over to the TV area, and I watched it, and I thought I was dreaming. It was it was just amazing.
It was very unpsychedelic in a real corny, crazy way. That but
Yeah.
he was really serious about this. That was the best part. He was serious. This was right after Star Trek.
Yeah, it's very funny. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere.
It is.
But
I have it up right now. We'll play it after we talk some movies with you. But
cool.
Irv, before we really get into the thick of this, I have to ask a personal question. One movie I've been dying to see, but I've been getting very mixed reviews on. As a matter of fact, it's already yanked from my local movie theater. Is Jobs?
Yeah.
Talk about Jobs.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think it's a decent film, and I thought Ashton Kutcher is better. You know, when you heard he was going to play Steve Jobs, you said, "Oh, what a piece of miscasting." But I think he does a really good job in the film. And to me, I didn't know a whole lot about his life. I didn't read the book that the film was based on, but I think it gives you a good overview of his life. It doesn't really get in deep, about what totally made him tick, but it'll be out on DVD. I think it's coming out already in October. So it did not last very long. Did not do all that well.
And I hear he comes off, and this is again second count from a couple friends who've seen it, but Steve Jobs actually comes off as a guy that you probably won't like as much as you do not knowing all these details. Did you get that impression?
You get some of his edginess, some of his drive that isn't always kind of a nice portrait. In a way, it's tried to sort of be a social network film, which is a terrific movie, and Mark Zuckerberg, a warts and all portrait, and it didn't quite get there. But I think the way it portrayed him, what I liked about it is that it seemed like it was trying to be objective and not just paint a very rosy picture.
Irv, as far as this year is concerned, this summer, biggest surprise to you, biggest bomb?
Well, to me, the biggest surprise was that for almost a year you were hearing that World War Z was going to be a disaster. And it came out and it actually did quite well. And it was I thought it was a solid movie. Did you get to see that?
I did, and I didn't care for it.
No, okay. I know it's a lot different than the book. People that read the book were somewhat disappointed. I thought it was fairly exciting. I thought the performances were good. It was a surprise just because I kind of expected total junk, and to me it was better than that. In terms of the biggest surprise, I kind of like smaller films, and I'll tell you, if you have not seen this small film out there called The Way, Way Back, I highly recommend it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's playing right down the street from me, and I have not seen it.
Yeah, I totally recommend the film.
What is it called? The Way,
Way Back. It's an odd title. And it's about a kid. It's a coming-of-age movie about a kid whose mother is recently divorced, and they're going away for the summer. And Steve Carell, in a real change of pace, is involved romantically with his mother, and he's a real jerk. And the kid sort of has to, come of age during the summer months in this resort town, and he gets a job at a water park. And it shows you what happens to him, his first romance, and I really loved the movie. When I was a kid, the movie Summer of 42 had a great impact on me.
Right.
And not only because of Jennifer O'Neill, but for other reasons as well.
That helped, though, right, Irv?
Yeah. So, So I recommend this film. This is the surprise of the summer for me, because I didn't really hear about it beforehand. And then the bomb of the summer, has got to be, and it's a movie that I didn't think was that awful, was The Lone Ranger.
Yeah. Do you think people just intentionally picked on that film, Irv? It was just an easy target?
It was an easy target. I can't say the movie's great, but it certainly has things going for it that, that are worthwhile. And it's an odd picture, and I think it's one of these situations where people review the budget more than the movie. The movie did cost way too much to make, and they were sort of trying to do a Pirates of the Caribbean as a Western with Johnny Depp. And I love westerns, so to me, I got something out of the movie. I thought it was extremely well made, as goofy as it was, and I give the